He watched his skin peel off like a wet glove and pinned it back to his bleeding feet, left alone in a white void. Douglas had to eat his only friends to survive, but the meat was toxic, turning his mind into a screaming cage. This is the true price of the Antarctic. The world is not white. It is a screaming, sightless gray. The wind does not blow here. It hammers. It strikes the chest like a leaden fist, stealing the breath before the lungs can even claim it. There is a sound beneath the roar. A sharp, rhythmic snap. It is the sound of a man sliding a needle through his own skin. Douglas does not flinch. His nerves have long since surrendered to the frost. He sits in the shivering dark of the tent. The air smells of kerosene, wet wool, and something sweet and sickening. It is the smell of rotting flesh. His feet are raw, weeping sores wrapped in filthy rags. He reaches for a boot, and a thick slab of skin slides off his heel. It looks like a discarded glove of yellow wax. He does not scream. There is no air left in him for screaming. Outside, the dogs are silent. They are gone. Nin-niss is gone. The sledge carrying the food and the hope of a return is a splintered memory. At the bottom of a blue abyss, only the hunger remains. It is a hollow, predatory ache. It gnaws at his ribs from the inside. He looks at the frozen carcass of the last husky. He looks at his hands. They are black at the tips, charred by the cold. He strikes a match. The flame is a tiny, dying heart in the gloom. It reveals the face of Merts. His eyes are wide, fixed on a corner of the canvas that is not there. He is whispering. Merts is chewing on his own fingers. He does not realize they are no longer part of him. The madness has arrived, before the starvation could finish its work. It is a quiet, rhythmic crunching in the dark. Douglas stands on feet that are no longer feet. He feels the bones of his ankles grinding against the leather. Every movement is a betrayal of the body. He must move, or he will become a statue. He drags the halved sledge into the gale. The ice beneath him groans like a living thing. It is a vast, hungry throat waiting to swallow the last of them. He is walking toward a ghost. He wonders if the men at the base are drinking tea. He wonders if they remember his name. How did the horizon become a prison? How did the greatest journey of his life turn into this? The year is 1911. The world is a map with white edges that scream for ink. Douglas Mawson does not see a wasteland. He sees a throne of ice. He sees a kingdom waiting for a name. The ship Aurora cuts through the black swell of the Southern Ocean. Its timber groans under the weight of ambition. On the deck, 17 Huskies howl at the salt spray. Their fur is thick. Their eyes are wild and bright. They are the engine of this crusade. They are the muscle that will pull the sledges across the silent plateaus of the unknown. Beside them stand the men, young, strong. Their skin is smooth. Their lungs are full of fire. Belgrave Nin-niss is a tall pillar of a man, a soldier with a laugh that defies the gale. Xavier Merts is a shadow on skis, a champion from the mountains of Switzerland. They are the chosen ones, the elite. The wind at Cape Denison is a living thing. It does not blow. It roars like 1,000 freight trains passing through a needle. It is the home of the blizzard. Here, gravity is a suggestion and the air is a razor. Despite the screaming sky, the mood is gold. They believe in the science of their tools. They believe in the strength of their dogs. The huts are built. The maps are spread across wooden tables. They are masters of all. By the time 1912 arrives, the party is ready to strike east. They pack the sledges with enough food for a small army. Tins of pemmican, bags of biscuits, chocolate, fuel for the Primus stoves. It is a bounty. They set out across the plateau under a sun that never sets. It is a blinding, white eternity. The ice beneath their feet is thousands of feet thick. It hides secrets. It hides cracks that lead straight into the belly of the world. Mawson leads the way. He charts the path with a sextant and a steady hand. He records the dip of the magnetic pole. He is a man of logic. He does not believe in ghosts. He does not believe in bad luck. The dogs pull with a feverish energy. Their tails are curled over their backs like white plumes. The sledges hiss over the frozen ripples of snow. Everything is perfect. Everything is going according to the plan of a brilliant mind. But the Antarctic is not a laboratory. It is a temple of indifference. It watches the three men and their dogs with a cold, blind eye. It waits for the moment of peak confidence. It waits for the single, tiny step. There is no warning, no tremor in the ice, no sound from the sky. There is only the sudden, sickening realization that the horizon has shifted. The context of their world is about to shatter. The trap is finally set. The optimism of the morning is a thin sheet of glass. Beneath it lies a darkness that has never seen the sun. They are 300 miles from the nearest human soul. They are walking on the roof of a cathedral. Douglas looks back at Nin-niss. He sees the young man smiling. He sees the dog straining against the leather harnesses. He does not see the thin bridge of snow that spans the void. He does not see the end of everything. The sky is a pale, indifferent blue. It stretches over the plateau like a shroud. The date is the 14th of December, 1912. Douglas Mawson glides forward on his skis, his eyes fixed on the shimmering horizon of the east. Behind him, Xavier Merts whistles a soft tune. He is a ghost on the ice, moving with the grace of a mountain bird. Farther back, Belgrave Nin-niss brings up the rear. He is driving the strongest sledge, the heavy heart of the expedition. This sledge carries everything. It holds the tent that shields them from the wind. It carries the bags of pemmican and the tins of kerosene. It is the only bridge between three men and a cold, certain grave. Mawson crosses a patch of snow that feels thin, like parchment. He does not stop. He does not feel the world tremble. He looks back and sees Merts follow safely. But then, the silence of the desert is broken. There is no scream. There is only a muffled, hollow thud. It is the sound of a heavy weight punching through a crust of frozen glass. Mawson turns his head. The white line of the horizon is missing a single, vital speck. Nin-niss is gone. The heavy sledge is gone. The best team of dogs has vanished. Where a man and his beasts stood a second ago, there is now only a jagged, black hole in the floor of the world. Mawson and Merts rush back to the edge. They do not run. They crawl on their bellies. The ice beneath them groans. It is a thin shelf over an infinite night. They peer over the lip of the crevasse. The darkness inside is absolute. It is a vertical tunnel of sapphire ice, plunging down into the gut of the planet. There is no bottom. There is only a terrifying, echoing emptiness that smells of ancient, stale frost. They call his name, Nin-niss. They scream it until their throats are raw and bloody. The word bounces off the frozen walls and returns to them as a mockery. There is no answer from the deep. The silence is a physical weight. Far below, on a tiny ledge of ice 150 feet down, they see something. It is a single dog, its back broken, whining in the dark. Beside it lie fragments of a wooden runner. Then, the whining stops. For 3 hours, they stay on their knees by the black mouth of the abyss. They lower a rope, but it dangles in nothingness. They hope for a miracle. They pray for a ghost to climb out of the sapphire dark. The realization settles like a coat of lead. Nin-niss is dead. The tent is at the bottom of the hole. The food for the men and the fodder for the dogs is buried in the ice. They are left with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The sun continues to shine with the cruel, golden brilliance. The wind begins to rise, mocking their stillness. They have no shelter. They have 2 dogs left and enough scraps of food to last perhaps 10 days. Mawson looks at Merts. The champion's face is white as the snow. The horror is not in the death of their friend. It is in the sudden, violent clarity of their own future. The abyss is no longer below them. It is everywhere. They are 500 miles from the base. Every mile is a battle against a god of ice. They stand on the edge of the hole. Two small, shivering figures. The journey back has begun. But the men who started it are already dead. The wind has a new voice now. It is no longer a roar. It is a wet, rhythmic panting. It smells of the copper tang of blood and the cold steam of a dying animal. The dogs are failing. Mawson holds the knife. His hands are cracked. The deep fissures filled with black frost. He looks at the last of the Huskies. These beasts were his partners. Now, they are the only fuel left in a world of ice. They slaughter them one by one. There is no fire to cook the meat. They eat the muscle raw, chewing on frozen sinew that tastes of iron and salt. It is a grim, silent communion between the hunter and the hunted. But the real poison is hidden in the delicacy. They crave the soft, rich texture of the dog livers. They do not know that each bite is a lethal dose. The vitamin A begins to burn them from within. The descent into physical ruin is swift and cruel. Mawson watches his hair fall out in clumps, drifting away on the gale like dead feathers. His skin begins to bubble. It peels away in long, translucent strips, exposing raw red meat. Xavier Merts is fading faster. The champion skier has become a hollow reed. His eyes are yellow, swimming in a sea of broken capillaries. He moves like a marionette with severed strings, his mind slipping into a jagged, fractured dream. The madness arrives in the middle of a screaming blizzard. Merts stops in his tracks. He stares at his own hand. With a guttural sound, he bites down. He gnaws at his own finger as if it were a chicken bone. There is no scream. There is only the wet crunch of teeth on cartilage. Mawson tries to grab him, but Merts is a wild thing now. He speaks in tongues, shouting at ghosts that dance in the swirling white out of the storm. Inside the cramped, freezing tent, the air is thick with the scent of decay. Merts collapses. He falls into a deep, twitching coma. His breath comes in ragged stabs, a desperate mechanical struggle against the encroaching silence of the frost. Mawson sits beside him, his own body falling apart. He feels the skin of his feet separating from the bone. He is a man watching himself dissolve. The hunger is gone, replaced by a heavy, toxic lethargy that weighs like lead. On the 7th of January, 1913, the twitching stops. Merts gives a long, shivering sigh and becomes part of the cold. The tent is suddenly very quiet. The only sound is the flapping of the canvas against the ice. Mawson is alone. He is 100 miles from the base with no companion and no strength. He looks at the body of his friend. He looks at the vast, white cemetery that stretches to the end of the world. He takes a penknife and saws the wooden sledge in half. He must shed every ounce of weight. He is a skeletal ghost hauling a splintered coffin across a desert of diamonds. The descent is complete. The nightmare has just begun. Die? The dead do not make for heavy company, but the silence they leave behind is a crushing weight. Douglas Mawson stands over the frozen remains of Xavier Merts. The world is a flat, white throat. It has swallowed his friends. Now it waits for him. He is 100 miles from the safety of the coast. His body is a ruin of peeling parchment and blackened meat. The skin on the soles of his feet has detached completely. It has come away in two thick, blood-stained cups. He does not stop to mourn. He cannot afford the salt of tears. He takes the raw slabs of his own skin and presses them back against his bleeding feet. He binds them tight with bandages and thick lanolin grease. He wears his own flesh like a pair of gruesome socks. Every step is the sound of bone grinding into leather. Every step is a white-hot spike driven through his spine. He hauls the half-sledge behind him like a skeletal limb. The ice beneath him is a treacherous labyrinth of hidden crevasses. He falls. The world vanishes in a blur of sapphire blue. He is dangling by a single rope over a void that has no bottom. He is a spider on a thread. He looks up at the small circle of light. He looks down at the infinite dark. His fingers are numb. His heart is a fluttering bird in a cage of broken ribs. He wants to let go. He wants the peace of the fall. But a cold, hard spite flares up in his gut. He refuses to die in the dark. He climbs the rope, inch by agonizing inch, the hemp tearing at his raw palms. He reaches the surface and collapses onto the frozen crust. He crawls. He walks. He stumbles through a haze of hunger and toxic fever. The wind screams in his ears, a choir of ghosts mocking his progress. Then, he sees it, a small mound of snow on the horizon, a cairn. He digs with fingers that have no nails. Inside, he finds a bag of food left by a search party. It is a miracle of 1913. He finds a note. The men were here just hours before him. They are close. The bread is hard as stone, but to him, it is a feast of the gods. He eats until his stomach rebels. He feels the warmth of the calories blooming in his veins. The horizon is no longer a wall. It is a door. He has 20 miles left to go. His hair is gone. His face is a mask of frost-bitten scars. He looks like a man who has crawled out of a grave. But he is moving. He is the last spark in a dead world. The plateau gives way to the jagged cliffs of the coast. He can smell the salt of the sea. He can hear the distant thunder of the ice breaking against the shore. He is a ghost coming home to a house of wind. He reaches the final slope. His legs are trembling, the muscles wasted to nothing. He is no longer a scientist or an explorer. He is a testament to the terrible, beautiful persistence of the human animal. The end is in sight. The final ridge of the plateau is a jagged tooth of ice. Douglas Mawson reaches the crest and looks down at the sea. The water is a bruised purple, churning with the rage of the southern winter. His journey is over. On the horizon, a speck of black smoke smudges the gray sky. It is the Aurora. The ship is moving. The heavy thrum of its engines carries across the ice like a fading heartbeat. It is leaving him behind. He is only a few miles away, but he is a ghost in a kingdom of white. He waves his tattered mittens. He shouts into the gale. The wind catches his voice and tears it into nothing. The ship sails on. He stands on the edge of the world, a skeletal figure wrapped in rotting fur. He has survived the abyss. He has eaten his dogs. He has sewn his own skin back onto his feet. But the world is moving away. He descends toward the huts of Cape Denison. He looks like a creature from a fever dream. His face is a mask of black frostbite. His eyes are sunken deep into a skull that has forgotten the taste of warmth. Near the base, he sees a few men. They are searching the ground for something lost. They look up. They do not run to him. They freeze. They stare at the apparition stumbling out of the blizzard toward them. One man steps forward. His name is Bicker Tun. He looks into the hollow face of the stranger. He does not see his leader. He sees a dead man walking. He asks the creature who he is. The voice is a rasp. Mawson speaks his own name. It sounds like the breaking of frozen glass. The men catch him before he falls. They carry him into the hut. The air inside is thick with the scent of coal smoke and fried bacon. It is a scent from another life. He learns that the ship sailed only hours ago. He has missed the passage home, but 6 men have stayed behind to find his body. They found a living man instead. He lies in a bunk for months as the winter locks the continent in iron. He listens to the wind hammer the walls. It is a frustrated beast, denied its kill. He watches his hair grow back in strange, thin patches. The legacy of the journey is written in the maps he brought back, but the real map is on his body. Every scar is a mountain range. Every hollow in his chest is a valley where a friend remains forever. He will return to Australia. He will be knighted by kings. He will live to be an old man in a warm house. but a part of him will never leave the ice. He is the ghost of Cape Denison. The story of Douglas Mawson is not a tale of discovery. It is a hymn to the terrible, lonely endurance of the soul. It is the proof that a man can be broken, flayed, and abandoned, and still find the strength to walk. The Antarctic does not care for names or medals. It only knows the wind. It only knows the silence. And in that silence, the names of Nin-niss and Merts are whispered by the snow, forever etched into the white eternity.